Is Christianity intolerant? That's the question that we're going to be talking about today. And if it is intolerant, is that a bad thing? In the world that we live in, there's been a great deal of emphasis placed on the need for not only tolerance, but general acceptance of everyone's truth. And Christianity is sometimes accused of being intolerant, and Christians are accused of being arrogant because they think they're right, and this makes them wrong. Now, clearly, this position has logical difficulties. We're going to be looking really at two major things. The first, is it okay to believe that other people are wrong, if it has to do with religion or really anything? And second, why does Christianity make the claims that it does? And those claims are basically exclusive. In this world where everybody embraces their own truth, we have a major problem. It's called reality and logic. When we contradict each other, we cannot all be right, because that would be completely illogical. What is more arrogant, to claim that only one religion is right, or that no religions are right, or that because people disagree about what is right about religion, this somehow makes religion itself not true? Imagine everyone is in math class and everyone comes to a different conclusion with a math problem. Doesn't mean that there isn't a right answer to that math problem. It just means that most people, or maybe everyone, got it wrong. Now, maybe there is no such thing as a true religion. Maybe religion is simply a man-made thing. But just because people disagree doesn't make all of them false. No one embraces what they know to be wrong. People like to be correct. And so if I am saying Christianity is correct and you are saying that there is no such thing as a correct religion, we are both essentially asserting a belief. And this really does put our claims on equal footing. But on the other hand, if I really do believe that God has stepped into this world of sin and death and has overturned sin and death in the person of Christ Jesus, wouldn't it make sense for me to want to share that good news with others, at least on some level? What sort of a person would I be if I just held that in to myself? And I think that lots of times Christians can come across as being arrogant, and that's because their motives are very much misunderstood. Okay, so why do Christians say that Jesus is the only way to God? It's not because they like to be right and have everyone else be wrong. And for the most part, it's not because Christians want to see other people burning in hell. Rather, it's because of the doctrine of the incarnation. Turns out doctrine is actually important. Why does Jesus say that he is the only way to the Father, that he is the way, the truth, and the life, that no one comes to the Father except by him? Well, the answer lies within the mystery of the doctrine of the incarnation. Christian theology claims this: because sin has separated man from God, there is a separation. God, the perfect, maximally great being, cannot be in the presence of sin, of imperfection, because the rottenness of sin would taint what makes God maximally great, would taint his character potentially. And so here we have the God-man Christ, who comes in and stands in between man and God. He is fully man and he is fully God, combining the two together. And thus, it is only through the person of Jesus, who has the divinity of God, that we as persons can come to God. And so that is exactly why Christians claim that Jesus is the only way to God, because he is the only God-man. He is the only one who bridges the divide between God and man. So it's not out of arrogance that this claim is made, but rather based fundamentally in Christian theological truths. Okay, we're going to watch just a little bit of this video from Lee Strobel in the Case for Faith. Enjoy.
More than 2 billion people, about 1/3 of the world's total population, identify themselves as followers of Jesus Christ. At the center of their faith is the controversial and remarkable claim Jesus made the week before his crucifixion. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me.
I am the way, the truth, and the life. What was he saying? He really was saying there's only one way to the Father. No man comes to the Father but through me. Now, he doesn't say this in a vacuum. It isn't like this is something he just dreamt up there at the Last Supper. This is something that he's been saying in many different ways all the way through his ministry.
The truth of the matter is that before Jesus came along, no one was claiming to be the exclusive manifestation of God on earth. This was not only a shocking claim, it was a scandalous claim, and early Jews were not expecting it. You know, it's not a surprise to me that Jesus got himself crucified. What's a surprise to me is that he lasted for 3 years in public ministry before that happened, making the kind of claims that he was making.
It's certainly a difficult thing to bring up in polite society that Jesus might be the only way to God. It can bring up rancor and it can bring up bad feelings. But at the end of the day, the question is that true?
Today, Jesus' claim to be the exclusive path to God is often challenged by the assumption that all religions teach basically the same thing. And as a result, there are actually many ways to salvation.
The world religions do agree about some of their surface teachings, but when you get to the core of those religions, they are radically contradictory. Buddha was an agnostic about whether there was a God. In fact, a major strain of Buddhism does not believe that anything exists, much less God. Hinduism says that there are 330 million gods. Islam says that there's one God, and the greatest evil that can be conducted is to believe that God is a Trinity and Jesus was the Son of God. For Christians, that is the most important claim. Now, they can't all be right. They could all be wrong, but they can't all be right because they contradict one another. I mean, think about it. Christians say that Jesus is the Messiah. Jews say that he's not. Either Jesus was the Messiah or he wasn't the Messiah, and if he wasn't the Messiah, the Jews are right and the Christians are wrong. And if he was the Messiah, the Christians are right and the Jews are wrong. But under no circumstance can they both be right. As one person put it, all religions are basically the same except for the area of God and salvation and the problem of man and the afterlife and that kind of stuff. It turns out on the big issues, they're very, very different. They can't all be true.